Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and our special guest on this show, Charisse Dean with Family Council, and we're going to talk pregnancy crisis centers and special funding. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm your host, Perry Black, and on this show, we have a special guest from Family Council, a dear friend of mine, Charisse Dean. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Pastor Perry. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Charisse, we like to always talk about our guest. Actually, we like to let our guests talk about themselves in this first section. For anybody that doesn't know you, maybe they've seen you on television, maybe on something on the news. You're with Family Council, and you're actually kind of coordinating, working with, collaborating with all the pregnancy crisis centers in the state. Is that kind of sort of what you do?
Yes, that's part of what I do, actually, as executive director of our Future Foundation, but those two just kind of cross.
Yeah.
So with our Family Council, I am a government affairs liaison and projects coordinator, and that's part of what I've been working on this year.
Now, at one point, didn't you serve on some committee at the Capitol for some politician or something?
I did.
Tell me about that.
The governor appointed me to the State Board of Education.
Governor Hutchinson?
Governor Hutchinson, thank you. Yeah. Governor Hutchinson appointed me to the State Board of Education in 2015. July of 2015 is when I first.
And how long did you do that?
7 years.
Oh my.
7 years. I served as vice chair for a couple of years and as chair of the.
Did you accomplish anything?
It was a committee. We did, yeah.
You don't see any statues of committees, but the government's full of committees.
It is, yes, yeah.
So you feel like you really legitimately accomplished something.
Absolutely.
I'm messing with you, of course.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Actually, as a result of the work that we did during that time, the State Board of Education, the Department of Education now has a family and community engagement department, which they previously did not have. That was really part of my platform while I was there, is that recognizing the rights of parents, and that right to raise our children is a God-given right and responsibility, and it does not belong to anyone else.
We had to have a committee to figure that out.
Right.
You know, one of my Perry phrases, and I didn't make it up, I just repeat it. If I hear something I like, I just own it for myself.
There you go.
I don't know why people find it so hard to understand that the Bible was written to explain to us how life is supposed to work.
That's right.
For our benefit.
Yes.
And in school and in education, the family involvement is really important.
It is, absolutely. It's pivotal. That is the most important piece to a child's education is the parents. And it's the parents' right, the parents' responsibility to teach that child about all things about God and this world that He created us in. And it's their choice whether they choose to do that at home, homeschool, or whether they choose to partner with community members through public school or private school. Charter. There's so many different options, but when it comes down to it, it's the parents' responsibility and right.
Wow, I never really thought anybody would come on the show and tell parents they need to parent their children.
Right.
Isn't it amazing though? But life really is that simple.
It is. It's so basic.
Scripture tells us in the book of Corinthians, don't be removed from the simplicity of the gospel through the subtlety of the devil. Sometimes through his own tactics, tries to confuse. And a lot of people are willing to let somebody else try to raise their kids, but God's plan is that mom and dad,
yes,
do you hear? Notice I said mom and dad,
yes,
have a responsibility given to them by God to raise their children, to train them up and nurture them in the ways of the Lord.
Yes.
And when we don't do that, the family doesn't work the way it was designed.
No. And as a result of the family not working as it's designed, the society, the community doesn't, because the building block of every society, every community is the family unit. When we don't get that basic
Yeah.
block right, the foundation is off, and everything that we build on there is not stable.
How'd you figure that out?
It's the Word of God. It's real simple.
How'd you get here today to the studio?
I drove
You did not.
in a car.
Yeah.
I drove myself.
You have a glove box?
I do.
Do you have gloves in it?
Actually, no, I don't.
I don't either. But do you have a manual to your car
I
in
do.
it?
Yes.
And if a light comes on your dashboard, could you look in that manual and say, I don't understand anything about this dashboard or this book, but there's a warning signal, and here it is, the picture, and it shows that signal, and it tells me what I'm supposed to do.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, here's the warning signal. God wrote a book
Yes,
called
he
the
did.
Bible, and the warning signs are everywhere.
Everywhere. Red lights going off everywhere.
Everywhere. So how'd you get involved at Family Council?
Oh, that was a God thing, how I got involved. I actually started out at Agape Church. I was working there, administrative assistant at the college, actually. And long story short, I ended up at a pregnancy resource center banquet that day. And sitting there, listening to Pastor Vodi Bakum talk about how Jesus was the crisis pregnancy for Mary.
Wow.
She was a young, unmarried teenage girl pregnant
Wow.
with an unexpected pregnancy. And when he talked about it, the words hit me like arrows in my chest. And I sat there and I just began to cry, and I said, okay, God is dealing with me about something. So I sat there and as I wrote a check for $50, which at the time was a huge amount for me as a single parent,
Yeah.
I spoke to God and I said, God, I know that you're speaking to me today. I said, I don't know what you want me to do, but I know it has something to do with this pro-life work. And today I say yes to whatever it is. And that day, the ball just began to roll. I met Jerry Cox that day at the pregnancy center banquet. I think I met Ken Yang and some other people. And long story short, through a mutual friend of ours, I started working at Family Council with Jerry Cox on a temporary project in 2014. God just blessed the project. It went really well. And at the end of that 6-month project, where I was supposed to go my way, Jerry was going to go his, Jerry said, would you come and work for me full time? Would you like to learn to lobby?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know anything about lobbying. As a matter of fact, anything that had to do with politics, I absolutely hated, abhorred it. But I felt that God led me there. So I said, I don't know anything about it, but he's like, I'll teach you everything you need to know. I said, well, let's do it. And the rest is history. I've been there since 2014, so 9 years.
So what does a lobbyist do? We're going to let you answer that question when we come back after this break, because we want you to just take a moment and stay with us. And in a moment, we'll be back with Charisse Dean, and we're going to talk more about fostering, mentoring, adopting. You mentioned being a single parent. A lot of people heard that and probably listened up. And we want to see how you can get involved in helping change the lives of hurting kids. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. Our special guest on this show, all the way from Family Council in West Little Rock,
Yes.
is Charisse Dean. And Charisse, we ended the last segment rather abruptly because I said, let's tell us about what is a lobbyist.
A lobbyist. Well, in simplest terms, it's an advocate for an interest group at the Capitol. So if you are representing a people group or an interest group at the Capitol and speaking with legislators, then you need to register as a lobbyist. But really, it's just someone to speak for you, to go to the legislators on the behalf of the citizens.
Now, as a citizen, I can go up there and try to talk to any number of politicians. They may or may not see me.
Right.
But as a lobbyist, you're there representing family council
Yes.
or a group.
Yes.
And therefore, you have to register because you're up there obviously more frequently than I would ever be as an individual citizen.
Right.
But my desires and my passions, my concerns, whether it's social, political, or legislatively, you actually could represent me as a lobbyist. If I said, hey, Cherie, can you tell us a little bit about that and how that works? And could you talk to Senator so-and-so or one of the House Representatives? You could do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So currently you are working with Family Council, though,
Yes.
primarily focused, one of your many focuses, I'm sure, but primarily on the pregnancy crisis centers.
Yes.
And there's been some legislation recently and some grant money allocated to help the crisis pregnancy centers, since we're abortion is illegal state.
Yes, absolutely.
So these pregnancy centers are becoming even more important. So talk to us
Absolutely.
about that.
Absolutely. Thankfully, because of the good work of Family Council and other organizations, Right to Life, I could name so many, we have been named for the third year in a row, I believe, the #1 most pro-life state in the country.
That is amazing, because in so many other categories we are nowhere near even the
gosh.
top half.
No. But when it comes to that, which is very important,
Praise
we are
God for
#1.
that.
Yes. So as a result of that, what we do to help young women and to help expectant moms is so important. There was legislation passed this past session for the second time, actually, because last year Governor Hutchinson started it off by appropriating $1 million to go specifically for pregnancy help organizations in Arkansas. And so what that entails is, #1, crisis pregnancy centers. That makes up most of that group. It's about 45 pregnancy resource centers or crisis pregnancy centers in Arkansas. The rest of the about 60 organizations are adoption agencies, maternity homes, and social service agencies that provide material and other types of support to an expectant mom to help her keep her baby.
So why do you care if a young lady has an abortion or has the baby? Why do you care? Why should anybody care?
Well, because that's what we're called to do. We're called to be, we are called to be God's hands and feet here. And just even if you're not even a Christian, I think there's something that God placed in us as humans that are made in His image, that we preserve life, because life is the ultimate gift from God. And so even more so as believers and as Christians, we are called to protect those that can't speak for themselves. There's so many scriptures that talks about the things that God hates and the things that He loves, and He hates for the innocent to be hurt. But He loves for us to speak on behalf of those and protect those that can't protect themselves. So any society, if it's going to be successful and ongoing, you have to protect the most vulnerable citizens. You have to protect your future, and our children are our future.
Well, I think anybody would agree, and we show videos of children in waiting looking for forever families and adopted family. It just makes you tear up, just moves your heart, because we can see those faces and we can hear their voices, but a child in the womb doesn't have a voice.
No.
What person would be walking anywhere in a public arena and see a little 2-year-old that cried out help, that wouldn't feel compelled to help?
Right.
And so that's what the crisis pregnancy centers do, is they provide that help for that young person or that lady who has a pregnancy. She doesn't know how she's going to provide, and come alongside her to help her and to show her with that sonogram that that's really a baby,
Right.
and that baby's really has a heartbeat.
Yes.
And that's so important. So what kind of resources do the pregnancy crisis centers need? Because they're all over our state.
Yes.
And probably right there where these viewers are at. There's one probably not far from them.
Probably not. There's 60 in the state, as I said before. And to your point, it's coming along these women in a very critical time. Most of these young ladies are young. Some of them are teenagers, and sometimes it's their first pregnancy, and it's an unexpected pregnancy. So the first thing that they offer is a free pregnancy test. Someone is there with you when you take that pregnancy test. I had an opportunity to speak last week about the fear that comes on you when you take that pregnancy test and it's positive. And
What do I do now?
yeah, what do I do now? And the thoughts that Satan sends to you. But these young women can be in a safe place and take that pregnancy test. They can have that sonogram, but they can have someone there that can calm those fears, and that can help them to think through and let them know what God's plan is for their life and for that baby's life.
Yeah, but all you Christians, all y'all care about saving the baby. You don't want to help the young lady and the baby after the baby's born. Is that true?
That's not true, because after we find out if you're pregnant or not, there's all kinds of material support. Everything that a mom needs for the pregnancy, and sometimes more than 2 to 3 years, sometimes some of them go up to 10 years, of everything you would need to raise that child. All the material support, everything you need for nursery, diapers, wipes, everything. Financial literacy, parenting courses, like what do I do as a parent? So there's so many things that they offer, not just during the pregnancy, but to help that woman afterward.
Yeah, in January of 2023, Second Chance Youth Ranch, we opened up our home for pregnant teenage girls.
Wonderful.
And one of our girls just, depending on when this show is airing, in the month of about end of March, the very 1st of April, had her baby.
Wonderful.
And we're going to help her raise that baby until she's able to support herself and her baby or return to her family. And so Christians actually care. And so we want you to be involved. So why not contact us or Family Council and see how you can be involved. We'll be right back.
My name is Caleb, and I'm 11 years old. I usually like to relax. Sometimes I'll play some video games. One of my favorite games are Super Mario Odyssey, a Super Mario Party, and that's really all. School is pretty good. My favorite subject is probably math, and my least favorite subject, probably reading. I haven't really, planned my future yet. But if I had a job, it would probably be a firefighter. I mean, it sounds fun, plus you get to save people's lives, so I guess that's a win-win.
If you could have a superpower, what would you want your superpower to be?
I would want super speed. Like, sometimes I could save people's lives. I could run around the city, just explore. It would be really cool.
If you were going to be stuck on a desert island, what is the one thing you would want to bring with you?
Water. Purified water with me, because I can't drink salt water. And probably since I'm on a deserted island, there will probably be like fruit in the trees. So the only thing I would probably need is water. I would wish to make everything I want happen. I would want to be with my family. I would want to have a big house so I can have all my family members in there. And they can each have their own room. I'm a very honorable person. I mean, I'm not really that social, Yeah, but I'm a really respectful person overall.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. As I always say at this segment of the show, is I know the faces and the voices and the stories of the children that are put together for Project Zero touch your heart. And that's why this show's on the air. It's to let you know what's happening in our society right here in Arkansas, maybe that county where you're at, and to bring solutions and information. But you know what? Watching the videos, if you don't make the phone call and get involved as a role model, a mentor, a foster parent, or by placing a gift in a foster agency near you, or supporting a foster family right there in your community or in your church, then this show's not accomplishing its purpose. So I want to encourage you to contact us. And if you're involved in a pregnancy crisis center, or you know one in your community, why don't you contact Charisse Dean with Family Council, because there's some funding, $1 million funding that's available.
Absolutely.
And y'all can help walk a pregnancy crisis center through how maybe they might be able to get some more resources to help more young people in a pregnancy crisis.
Yes.
Is that true?
It is true. Thankfully, that $1 million that was started last year, 23 pregnancy help organizations in Arkansas, of the 60 that we have, were able to apply for that money. That money is gone, basically. So another $1 million was appropriated for this year. So if you have a pregnancy resource center, if you're a maternity home, adoption agency, or any sort of social service agency that provides material or any sort of support to a young lady that's expectant, you can apply to this funding.
Can I tell you why that's important? Because I thought just a few weeks ago, when our young lady at our home had a baby, I thought, boy, she's going to need a lot more now that she has a baby. For people that maybe don't realize this young lady's in foster care, but her baby is not.
Right, right.
And so that baby becomes the sole responsibility of that young lady who doesn't have a job and the ability to care for it. Therefore, it falls upon us.
Yes.
So I just want to let our audience know I'll be applying for some grant money.
Please do, yes.
Because we
We'll
want
be
to
in
help
touch.
that young lady in every way possible, so that child who successfully made it out of the womb alive
Yes.
will have every opportunity to reach its destiny.
Yes.
Is that awesome?
It is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
And I just find myself to be just privileged to be
Yeah.
a part of this. I'm amazed every day that I get to do this type of work. It's amazing.
So how can our viewers help you help others?
Well, you can help Our Future Foundation. That is what our main purpose.
AR?
AR Future Foundation. We'd like to say our future, like
Yeah.
we're protecting our future. But AR Future Foundation, we provide the funding and the resources to help these pregnancy help organizations. The directors, a lot of their time, I'd say 80 to 90% of their time is given to fundraising. What we'd like to do is take that responsibility off of their shoulders as much as possible so that they can focus on helping these young women. So we actually are assisting the directors that want to apply for the Department of Finance and Administration grant, the appropriation. I've done Zoom meetings. I've assisted with the application, so we'll be sending information out about that. But one way that they can help is we are doing a brand new campaign, and it's called the Hope for Two fundraising campaign. And just as you said earlier, it's not just about my mom, it's not just about the baby, it's about two lives.
Yeah.
And they both need support. So we're just excited to launch this brand new campaign to help mothers have hope and support, not just for their own lives, but for their babies' lives. And that, it kicked off on Mother's Day, which is May 15th, and it'll run all the way through August 7th. And every day we will be highlighting one of the 60 pregnancy help organizations in Arkansas. It's also a campaign for awareness, because most people don't know that there are so many pregnancy help organizations and they don't know where they're located.
Yeah.
So we want people to know where your local pregnancy help organization is.
So how do they find them?
They can find them at our website, 2CYR-Foundation.com. You can go to the pregnancy help part of the website, and I have them all listed. You can also donate there. We'll have the campaign page available as well. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can find us there as well.
Well, back in 2022, Family Church Bryant, we hosted all of the directors and assistant directors of pregnancy crisis centers. We only were the host site. I think we provided the meal.
Yes, you did.
Y'all provided the entire program. And we're going to do that again in September of 2023.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much.
So anyone that's involved in one of those 60 crisis pregnancy centers, you just happen to be watching, make sure your director knows. Have them get in touch with Charisse.
Please.
She will help you find us, 21815 I-30 West Family Church Bryant campus, because we can work together, make a difference.
Yes, absolutely.
And I'm just telling you, here's the way we live. When we give, we receive more than we ever give.
Absolutely.
And so it might be a little selfish, but being involved and engaged with what Family Council's doing, what you're doing through the foundation, and doing in our state is making a difference. And we want to be supportive in that. We don't want to just do lip service.
Absolutely.
We got a minute left. What can you tell our viewers how they can be involved? Donations, what? What can they do?
Well, as I said before, you can find us at www.arfuturefoundation.com. We have a donation page there. There are 60 organizations in Arkansas. $1 million went really quickly, so we want to raise as many funds as possible. That is their number one need. But they also need donations. They also need diapers, wipes, formula. They need connections in the community. We also need volunteers for different events that we have. So if you would contact me, you can call me at the office, 501-375-7000, or you can email me from the website. We'd love to have your support, and any way that you can help the pregnancy help organizations would be great.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan said, when nobody cares who gets the credit, a whole lot more can be done. That's paraphrase. But that's really what we need. A lot of people can't do a lot, but a lot of people doing a little get a lot done.
Absolutely.
Can you quote me on that?
Yeah, I can. Yes, so we are actually trying to build our donor base. Consistent giving goes a long way. Even if it's $10 a month, $20 a month, it is so useful.
Yeah, it's not the amount.
No.
It's the heart and the willingness to do.
Absolutely.
And if everybody just does a little, it goes a long way.
Yes.
Thanks for watching Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. God bless you. We'll see you again here next week. God bless. Bye-bye.